in here for reference, but I want to talk about strategies for dealing with conflict and difficult people and customer service. So I'm going to mix it all together and we're going to knock it all out, okay? So, violence conflict.
Oh, I resolve conflict.
So you can help with some of these case studies that we're going to have tonight. Because we're going to have class participation. Because tonight is a study. So we're going to study through this because none of us are perfect and customer service is hard. It's not easy and you got to be very vulnerable. When you're a customer service person, people are not nice to you, just period. So we're going to work through this together so we can help each other. So on Sunday, Pastor Cole, we were at service, he was talking about the ways that Nick Saban wins his championships. Now, me personally, I didn't know who he was, but I was like, okay, God, I'm listening to the word, because I'm going to hear just in case you got something that you're trying to speak to me, even for tonight. So one of the things that Nick Saban uses is strategy with his team. And so that's what tonight is. Tonight is just gathering together because we need strategy for dealing with difficult people. When you go and get your car fixed and you get maintenance done, you get maintenance to prepare so that the car doesn't break down. So it's not that we necessarily always have difficult people or that we always have issues within our ministry. We want to prepare for when they come. We want them to have the tools and be equipped so that when they come, we're like, oh, I know how to deal with you. Oh, I know how to resolve this. I'm not going to get offended, and we're going to work through, okay? All right. So I want to go over a stat that I have. I like statistics. I like science stats and stuff like that. So listen to this, guys. So 10% of conflict is due to difference of opinion, and 90% is due to the wrong tone of voice. All right. So imagine different confrontations that we may encounter within the ministry, within your own personal interactions with each other, or outside of the ministry. It really doesn't matter. You have control of 90% of it. The 10% you can't control because you don't agree with each other, and that's okay. We can have a difference of opinion, but I can control how we're going to handle our difference of opinion with 90% of just how I respond in my tone of voice, okay? Because I can nicely tell you no.
With a smile.
And a hug. All right, so let's get into some scriptures. So, and I know it's Bible study night, so again, like we can interact. I am going to have a case study, so please feel free to talk back to me if you want to say anything. So in Proverbs 15:1, I was reading the ESV version just to back up that statistic. It says a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So even though we had the science, we had our biblical scripture to pass to support it. And most of us already were aware of that, right? All right. So we're in a world where we're taught to look out for ourselves, take care of ourselves. Self-love is all about us. And the thing is, when we come into the kingdom, when we come in to do things for God, that's not what he says for us to do. And it's a hard transition to reprogram our mind, to reprogram our thought process of how to handle conflict and how to handle difficult people. So I want to read to what the Bible tells us to do. He says in Philippians 2:3, Jesus tells us to esteem each other better than ourselves. And that hurts.
Yes.
That hurts when the other person is being mean. That hurts when the other person is nasty. That hurts when the other person has hurt you. But this is what the word tells us to do. We have to put each other and treat them better than we treat ourselves. And we all know how we like to be treated. Talk back to me if you need something. Philippians 2:3. It'll make me feel more comfortable talking.
You want to talk back?
Yeah, if you need something. Like, if you need like that scripture, just let me know. All right. So Paul also tells us in Colossians 3:12, it says, since God chose you to be the holy elect people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. So
we are the same.
Exactly. So I had to read that a couple times because he was telling us, like, he chose me. He chose me because I'm a holy person. He chose me. I'm elect. I'm his chosen person, right? So if I must myself with those things, and I love clothes, I love to go shopping. So I was like, so then I had to take something off then. So I had to take off the opposite of all of those things, right? So, and let's just give you some examples, right? We had to take off being mean, impatient, proud, being merciless, not being patient with people, being quick-tempered. I had to take all that off, and God has commanded me to put on, the opposite, put on humility, put on gentleness and patience, right? And then even in Ephesians 4:22 through 24, and 22 it says to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life, and is corrupt through deceitful desire, and to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. So of course, that old self is that impatient person. That old self is the one that's like, I don't have time for this, I ain't dealing with this. We gotta put that off. That's what God is instructing us to do. So that's just to give you kind of like a basis, because again, tonight I was focusing again, this was just for me and Brooke. And so I was asking God, like, help me to formulate this for my audience, help me to formulate it for everyone that's gonna be here. So tonight I'm only gonna focus on 2 examples of difficult guests that we may have that come in the ministry. I'm gonna call them customers, because we're dealing with customer service, and that'll help us kind of get through it. But the principles that I want to talk about, how to handle them, that's what I want to focus on. I want to base it on the scriptures that we just read, okay? All right, so let's talk about the disappointed guests. All right, we all may, let me back up. So another reason why it's important that we're going over all of this with everyone, because it is all of our burden to carry customer service within Worship United Church. It's not just the greeters, it's not just hospitality. If you sit next to someone in the church, especially if they're a VIP, a new guest, it's their first time there, it is all of our responsibility to give customer service to each one another and to people that come within the ministry, all right? Okay, good.
Sure.
So, exactly. So the disappointed guest. Now, what makes a disappointed guest difficult? Typically, they set expectations that we were not aware of, okay? Or we set expectations within a ministry and we didn't meet the standard, okay? So it could be our fault or theirs. Right. So when it's their fault, how do we handle that as a ministry? How do we fix that? Be gracious. Okay, so an example that I want to give, let's say a visitor didn't get the visitor back. We know Bethlehem goes up, she does her beautiful announcement, turn in your card, you get a visitor back. But let's say they didn't get one. Well, why didn't they get one? Let's say they didn't turn in the card. None of that matters. The fact is, let's say they come to you and say, hey, I didn't get a visitor back and she didn't give it to me like she said she was. They may come up to you like that. So what are you going to say to them? You're like, oh, well, you're not going to take it to her. They just pointed her out because they might have an office. So that's not going to be our best, method to handle that. I think something that I want you guys to take home tonight, if you can just use this, I'm telling you, it'll help you on your job, it'll help you everywhere, is that I'm sorry that happened. I can help you with that. Yeah. I can help you with that. That will cancel so many conflicts that you may have that can come in your way.
It's like you take ownership.
Right. Exactly.
Right, protecting each other too.
Exactly. We're going to get into all of that. Yes. Exactly. So we need to resist the temptation to teach people a lesson. So yes, they were wrong. Yes, they're blaming us that they didn't get the bag, but we cannot blame, we can't go and try to teach them a lesson now. Right. Because what we could do is say, well, did you fill out the card? Well, did it come like that? Did you fill out the card? She said fill out the card. Did you fill out the card? No. Well, how about we say, oh, did you happen to get one of our welcome cards? Oh, you did? Well, where is it? Let me get that from you. Let me turn it in. And you just kind of slowly reiterate that in a soft tone. Because remember, our tone is what causes the conflict. Our tone is what could, our tone is what could keep them from coming back. And even keep each other. Because I really believe that God has been teaching us so that we can also work with each other. Okay?
Yeah, can you repeat that where you said resist?
Resist the temptation to teach them a lesson, specifically about following instructions, or whatever the situation is. Again, I'm giving examples of situations, but we can apply it anywhere.
In that place, right? That's good.
Yeah, for those of us that like to be right, we gotta resist that.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people too, it's like, I know there's a better way than this. All right, and this one, now, I'm not taking credit for this. I heard this from a pastor, and this blessed me. And I know this may bless our intercessors in here. But customer service is like intercession because we are filling in a gap. So I was like, mind blown. I was like, wow, when you think about it, it's true because anyone that's operating in customer service, you have access to something that person needs. And so it's the person, it's what they need, and then it's you in the middle. So if anyone comes to us in Worship United Church, whether it's each other or someone from off the street, and they say, hey, can you help me with this? Yeah, how can I help you? I can help you with that. You may not know what to do. You may not have the answer, but you do know who to go to. Because all of us know who's in charge of every different auxiliary in Worship United Church. We're not perfect. Again, we don't have to know what to do, but we know who to go to and how to move them in and resolve whatever the concern is. All right, any questions on that? Okay, y'all. So I'm working on now what happens when our team drops the ball. Because sometimes we make mistakes. Again, we're human. We're not a perfect church, but we're trying to serve a perfect God, right? So we're going to make mistakes. We're going to drop the ball. We're still young and growing. We have small different auxiliaries, new people coming in. Remember, we have our VIPs when they join. What do? They join a team once they're ready to serve. They're not going to know everything, so they're going to make mistakes and they're going to get it wrong. So we're going to talk about how to handle when we have dropped the ball, all right? Same scenario. We're going to use the same bag. They didn't get the bag, but this time we ran out. We ran out of bags. They said, I didn't get a bag, and I came back the second time, and I see everybody in the church got bags this week, and I didn't get a bag. All right, so what should we have done? Set a clear expectation. If we ran out of bags, and again, these are just my examples because it's my ministry. It helps me whether y'all apply it to wherever. If I know we ran out of bags or whoever's over that area, we should set clear expectation with that guest. Hey, I'm so sorry. Again, taking that responsibility, we ran out of bags. Next week, we're going to be ready. We'll have some bags for you. Come and see me. What's your name again? Let me even get your number. Go ahead and fill out a card for me. We'll even call you. Like going that extra mile to let them know that, hey, we noticed you. We messed up. We're out. We weren't prepared maybe, but we got you next time, okay? People usually appreciate that, all right? So now, what people don't want to hear is what you can't do. Right. So that's something that we have to start implementing if we're not already doing it. That's why we like to say, okay, well, how can I help you? Because people don't want to know that we don't have seats available. They just want to know, where can I sit? They don't want to hear, oh, it's standing room only. Let me see if I can make some room for you. It's a big difference just how you change your wording, okay? All right. So moving on to someone else kind of segued me into this. If your team blows it, you can be honest. You can be transparent. Yeah, we ran out of bags. But you have to be loyal to the house. We're not throwing the church under the bus. We're not throwing your ministry under the bus. We're not throwing your team member on the bus. We are on a team. We have to cover each other. Love covers a multitude of sins. Yeah, there's multiple reasons of why we could have ran out of bags. That's none of their business. They don't need to know that. Just, I'm so sorry, we are out of bags this week, but we got you next week. And just make sure that that person is, available and ready to get their bags, right?
I told them they got bags.
Right. That's exactly. Because that segued me into my next.
Y'all don't Taylor, missing the bag.
We have to fight the temptation to take those opportunities where there's failures and you're constantly the person to be able to meet the gap, to not use that to influence people there and become manipulative. Because we can imagine someone, now it happens to me as well. I'm just being honest, okay? Imagine people are always coming to you like, Whitney, you're always getting that done. Whitney, you're always doing that. Whitney, you're always doing that. I have to fight the temptation. Like, yeah, I can always do it. Yeah, I can run that and do this and hold this and hold that. You have to fight that. You have to realize, no, like we're all in a team. We're all doing it together. And just because you're able to meet that gap, it's for the team, okay? Thank you, other day. Y'all are just helping me. And just to, wrap that section up, we never want to look good when someone else is looking bad. And I actually wanted to use Elder Gator for this example because Elder G be coming through for me in the agreement area, because there are times when talk to you about this, Elder Gaynor, but it's in my heart. But there are times when people come through the door and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these people. One time, one of the pastor's wife came on crutches. I don't know if you remember. And there was no seats on the closest side. So I told her, I said, I'm so sorry, but what I can do is sit you over there. She was like, oh, okay. And she was getting ready to come with me. And Elder Gaynor was like, hold on 1 minute. And he went and asked Mrs. Gaynor to move out the way to make room for her. For again, these are our VIPs, right? It's people that need help, need extra attention. I didn't have the authority to move Mrs. Gaynor.
Just ask me, I am willing to move. So I'm giving you the go right now.
Thank you, Mrs. Gaynor. But even in something that I was lacking, I could have made a mistake. I could have made a bad impression on that pastor's wife. He was able to step in. He didn't say anything like, oh, she don't know what she's doing. Hold on. I know you. I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to fix this. Just wait 1 second. He didn't do me like that. He just said, just 1 minute. That's all he did. He said, let him do his thing. See how he's going to maneuver these seats and accommodate. And that's what we have to do for each other. Okay?
That's good.
All right. So let's move on to any questions on a disappointed guest before I move on.
My hand is not up.
We're talking about
Okay. It's all right.
Oh,
All right, so the next one, we're going to deal with the disgruntled or irate guest. So again, we've been blessed. I haven't necessarily seen this within our ministry, but I truly believe God is trying to prepare us for what is coming. And we just have to be prepared. Of course, we have our 12 a.m. prayers. We have our, first, second, third of the month prayers, and we're trying to keep these things at bay, but we need to be prepared when God is ready. Like, okay, I'm going to test you now in what you should have been learning, because you got to apply what you learn, right? All right, so I want to start with a scripture and again, this section now is the disgruntled or irate guest. So in Galatians 6:1, it says, and this is a Berean Study Bible version. I liked how it was written, just in case. Yeah, I liked it when I read this scripture. So it says, brothers, if someone is caught in a trespass, you who are spiritual should restore him with a spirit of gentleness. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted. So we have to be very, very careful when dealing with irate, angry guests when they come in, to make sure that we don't take off that anointing and go back into our old man. Okay, we gotta handle them with love, and we have to handle them with compassion. Yeah, I'm telling you, you don't think that you would, like when you're under the anointing, like everything is great until someone starts acting up and interrupting service, and you're like, oh no, so how are we going to handle this? We're going to isolate the problem and get them out and let them, let security.
I heard somebody say one person makes a fool, 2 people make fools.
Exactly.
again.
Kayla ain't even got all right, so this is going to be our case study now, right? So we had our scriptures. We had a few little tips that I've given you on how we could handle a situation. We all have our own personality, so I welcome any ad-libs, anything that you would do on top of what we learned. Here's our scenario, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Ready. Service is jammed-packed. A single guest and child takes their belongings and goes to the restroom, and the greeter didn't see them. So she seats 2 people in those seats. The guest and her child come out upset and personally offended that their seats were taken, and you are starting to witness the uproar of them starting that murmuring and upset and all of that. What are you gonna do?
Who's the you? You said
So
you.
where's
So
the
what am I
witness?
doing?
You're all the yous.
We're all.
That's the thing.
So if you a greeter, is you a sit next to
No,
them?
see,
Yeah.
listen, that's what we're learning tonight. We are all the youth. It is
Right.
all our responsibility to have customer service and handle difficult guests or disappointed
pastor.
people.
As a pastor, what would I do if I saw that situation?
I guess it's all different, because she wouldn't give up her seat.
No, but what,
If I
how
was
can I
sitting there, I
resolve
would give
it
up my
though?
seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking about how we're gonna resolve it. How would you
Well, first
resolve
you
it?
have to say that I'm sorry that happened to you, and we're going to find better seats for you.
Yeah, so pretty much you take the responsibility.
Ability
And
for-
we protect each, the two guests, so they don't continue to go at each other.
And while we're talking to them, we have somebody come up for 2 seats.
How can I help?
That's
But
it.
also to add to that, not everybody at once, because that'll probably escalate it too.
Not everybody, but
Right, like that particular situation,
Yeah.
to go over, because it'll just, eventually just make it.
But we should all, like, if it was a normal Sunday, not everybody would get to it anyway. We would all be focused on, yeah, we'll be watching, but we'll be focused in our area where we're supposed to be.
But what if it happens in the conference? Where, when we had the conference,
We usually
I
have
say
sections.
Everybody usually has sections.
We
So I
usually
guess
have
the person
sections.
closest to it should be able to see it.
Yeah.
And also, they should, make eye contact with the person next to them so they can say, hey, I got it. The way everyone doesn't bombard that situation.
Yeah.
Put up 2 fingers, I need 2 seats quickly.
and one of the things you want to do is take them away from that person that's
Right.
sitting in that chair.
Yes.
Because you don't want them to be offended now,
Right.
and now they're uncomfortable for the whole service.
Because you can walk them to the side and say, can you follow me, and we'll find better seats for you.
Exactly.
Get them out of.
We've had people walk
I
out
know.
because they've had a seat, they were asked to slide over or them,
Yeah.
and they got offended and they left.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a situation happen to me. It was a true test of character. I was at a gospel concert, and I got there early. I did, and I was that close to the front. And this guy, this tall guy, and this tall girl, like they came up. They were like, "Excuse me." I thought they were saying "excuse me" to get
Into the eye.
to where they were or whatever, or maybe connect with their friends or something. Excuse me, and I moved out the way for them to stand in my spot.
Wow.
What did you do? I solved it. I said that's rude. I said that's very rude. I said I was standing there, and she just flipped her hair.
And
We had oh my gosh! So it was like, Jesus, this is an irritating thing.
And it was a gospel concert, right?
Yeah.
Did you get your spot back?
Slowly, I started taking my spot back.
She took
And I stood very stiff, so she was just like, uncomfortable. The guy was like,
You should have praised the Lord with all your might.
Praise Him!
That's how you
Jesus!
know you're comfortable. Praise Him with your
Praise Him! Praise
the
Him!
whole time.
Praise Him!
Jumping up and down, clapping, even the slow song. Go all the way in. Put space back. I had to get my church space back. Especially like in churches that there's not seats, they're like rows, and somebody just like, number one, I know you felt yourself bumpy 3 times, sister. I need you to get your elbows on the shot. You gotta just kind of bombard your space back slowly.
I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it.
And that's
I didn't overreact.
And that's what we're trying to do when we have a meeting. We want to work on just making sure that we're observant of those things as readers. Like, we want to see those things. We want to see those and maybe catch you and say, hey, I have a better seat for you. You want to come up here? And just, give those types of opportunities for people when that type of, thing happens. It's unfortunate, but it does happen, and that's why we want strategies. And everything that you guys said was basically the correct thing. It's depending on who's the closest. We don't need to bombard the person. But if you hear it and you see that, oh, this can be offense to them, or they might leave, and we know that that's the enemy, we want to try to resolve this, all right? What Mrs. Gaynor said is what I would do as a greeter. I'm going to try to now find the next best seats. I'm not going to throw whoever did that into the, how we say, throw them under the bus. Yeah, but it's just like, all right, I'm going to say something like, let me get you 2 better seats. And now even Elder Gaynor said it. They may still be offended and say, you know what, I'm leaving. At that point, you really just have to wash your hands with it and keep moving, because some people are going to choose to be mad, and we can't let that stop. Some of that is designed to cause that little bit of division, because other people are going to be looking and watching. Well, what happened? What are you doing? And how they mad? You just need to put it right on the rug and keep moving and praising God. And oh, we got 2 more seats up here, and just keep moving. And again, I'm focusing on my area where I'm comfortable, so I'm mentioning seats and stuff like that. But again, y'all apply it to your different areas and things that you're doing, okay? And how God lays it in your heart.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you might have some people, when you have an event, will put pocketbooks and save seats for people. What do you do in that case?
I think in this scenario, we want to try to be gracious with that example. I like to ask people when they come to the door, if you have anyone else with you. And if they tell me, yeah, it's 3 of us, then I like to maybe sit them towards the back, because I know I got 4 more people that are probably going to fill up that room in about 30 minutes. So I try to accommodate our guests the best that I can right now in this season. As we grow and things change, things might change. But right now, I just like to ask up front, anybody else with you? And if I see a crowd coming, okay, how many of you guys together? And just try to accommodate, because I can usually fill in the rest. So I'm going to be transparent. It's study night, right? I just like to fill in before Pastor get out. So if I know I have enough time to fill in before he gets out, I'll accommodate. I'll accommodate and make the honest truth. Be transparent. That's how I try to do it. But if I know it, if it's towards the beginning of service, and I can feel it around you. If it's, at the end, and maybe we really didn't have, some filled up seats in the front, then let's sit you in the back so it's not distracting. But I try to accommodate in this season. Is that okay?
Yeah, because I'm just asking that because it's going to happen the anniversary. I'm just getting upset.
What I'm hoping is with these these passes, I'm hoping, again, it's not guaranteed seating. If you have a pass, or if you want to wait a minute, we want to get some water, or wait for the rest of your party to come in. I'll kind of finagle it how when we get there, but right now I just try to accommodate them and fill in.
I like that you have a time frame for that. People have to be in by a certain
Yes,
time.
I think that's good. Yeah.
And the BMG also, because if they come after 3:50, then it's whatever's left.
Right. You make that clear.
Even with the VIPs?
What about the pastors?
Even with the VIPs?
No, we don't have
and
the time
pastors?
thing on the pastors.
We don't have the time.
But they're
Just
probably going to have
on
reserved seats.
They will.
They're gonna have reserved seats, but for the what is it called?
BMG.
Yeah, the BMGs, we have a certain set window.
Oh, okay.
For them to come in and get their seats and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's another type of difficult guest that I didn't want to talk about tonight, but since I try to condense this, y'all. I have 5 pages of notes. And my husband is long-winded, and he was like, you need to shorten that. Talked about how we would handle. Everyone did great with the case study. using what we learned tonight. So that's what we have to do. We have to apply it. So everybody did great with that. But another point that I want to make is it's not about giving the guests what we think they deserve. Okay? It's about giving them the best service possible. We have to remember that Jesus did not give us what we deserve when he died on the cross for us, okay? So again, when you're dealing with difficult people, these are the things that have to go back in the back of your mind, like, Lord, okay, I remember being like that, or I remember doing that, or I wasn't always perfect, or I didn't understand that before. Yes, you have to be gracious. Remember, that was the first point we made. You have to be gracious, because, it can be us. It can be us. And the thing is, sometimes...
Body language.
Yes.
That's
It's
why I
worse
should
than
be.
saying something.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
That's why I should be
Control
the
the
focus.
minds.
Yes.
All your eyes, because I have a tendency to.
But it's a process, and that's the thing when I was starting off saying
You cut them eyes and you cut them.
I think every week this
Welcome to my world.
And again, remember everyone, like, I'm not perfect, I'm not coming up here to go over these things as if I mastered this. I probably messed up on all of these things a couple Sundays ago. And it's like, as I'm studying it and learning, I'm like, okay, I can do better in that, I can do better in that, I can do better in that. So it's just, just want to share this with you so we can get better and be ready for when they come, because they're coming.
Yeah, they
I
are.
think you made a great point by saying we're not giving the guests what we think they deserve, because we still have that control and that authority, and if we just give them what they want, then it's like we give them that control now. So we stand our position and we let them know that, we're gonna do our best to accommodate you, to serve them.
We're doing a service.
Exactly, I think that's a good point to me.
Alrighty,
With that, I do have a question.
okay.
It's a little scenario, and whoever will catch on. But I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to handle that, right? Because I had an issue too. How do you handle just people that you know that you probably spiritually are frustrated with? And how do you still be loving and kind, but knowing the battle that you have spiritually with that person? How do you, still be loving?
Meditating on the word. You have to meditate. You have to consistently remind yourself. And like I was talking to Kayla earlier, sometimes asking God to see what the root of the issue is. Sometimes we take things personally, and I didn't say this to her when we were talking earlier, right? But sometimes we take things personally, but we don't even know what the root is.
Right.
It's not that person. It's a spirit. It's something going on. Yeah, it's something else going on, and God will use those people and their situations and their circumstances to develop us as leaders.
That's my point.
Character.
And that's through a process.
Yeah, I think character.
But hold on, before I forget, because I'm quick to forget. So, but I'm specific when I say leaders, not to just develop us as regular. He will put us in tough situations to develop us as leaders and that character, like Mrs. Gaynor was saying. So he will put us with the hard-headed. He will put us with the disrespectful. He'll put us with the rude. He'll put us with the people who are just blatantly like, you got to be like, this can't be real. Like somebody's punking me. This can't be real. Yeah. And I've been there. I've had, don't forget your point now. I've had jobs where, the boss would tell me, and at that point I was smaller. I was, a smaller size, and they would tell me I needed to be smaller because I worked for a surgery center. I worked for a weight loss surgery center, and they told me that I needed to be smaller. They told me that I couldn't get a leadership position because of my age.
What?
Even though I had the qualifications. Like
Oh,
everything
you
worked.
could have sued the girl.
I could have, but when the whole system works together, you just got to get out of the system. That ecosystem, you just got to get out of it. But just being, mentally abused, physically abused within a work environment. But now I can deal with difficult people and tickle myself and laugh at it because it's kind of like, that is hilarious. And I was laughing, sitting with Kayla, and I just giggled to myself. She's like, what's so funny? So I'm just thinking about something. Because you get to a point where you don't even have to say nothing anymore. You can hold it and you can keep it into yourself. And I'm not perfect. I keep telling, she other me, so like I'm getting delivered and petty because I'm very quick with jokes and stuff like that. So, but it's a process. So go ahead.
Yeah, you pretty much touched on it. I think when we're in situations that irritates us, it's usually something that God is trying to expose about us. Like he's really working on our character. He said he calls all things to work together for his good. So when we're dealing with people that irritate us, even spiritually, I think our focus should be on God. What are you trying to show me? What's in me that you're trying to get me to see? So I can, because it's really never about the person.
It's not. And the
That's why
quicker
we should
you
never
do
take it
that,
personal.
the quicker you do that, the quicker you can move on from that person. Because if you don't pass that person, you will put that spirit in another person. And I promise you, it'll just keep showing up and showing
You
up.
learn your lesson.
Yeah.
And then also, I just want to add, Pastor Tanya said this like a little while ago, but it's not about your feelings. So I think that's really important. That's something that God's been dealing with me on. It's not about your feelings. It's not about what you feel. It's about what needs to be done and what's going to advance the kingdom. It's not about your feelings. You can handle your feelings with God later, but in that moment, it's just not about you. There's a bigger work and a bigger mission that needs to be accomplished.
Yes. But you don't get to that point without having somebody try your feelings.
Right.
I mean, we can't get there unless we go through difficult, disgruntled, and irate guests.
It goes back to like the flesh thing too, because Pastor said.
I was getting ready to say it.
You understand something when you don't respond, right?
Yes.
So, and he always touched on something about practicing, I think he said humanity. Master humanity, that way you can learn what disturbs you and you can control it.
Because like while we were reading the scriptures earlier back in, let me see, it was in Colossians, like, I gotta take that coat off. Like, that's what I'm telling myself now, like, I done put up that pride coat again, I need to take that coat back off. And I gotta put on some humility again, when I get
It's basically
tested.
what you're doing is you're becoming a student of yourself. Because most people are trying to find out what's going on with somebody else.
That's
But
true.
God's trying to get you to find out what's going on with you.
Yes.
You got to become a student of yourself and know what takes you off, what makes you get upset, what makes you angry. And he'll put people around you to push your buttons so you will know that, I need to correct.
You guys trying to
Okay, so that brings me to another point. Now, I can't take credit for this either. I heard this week and I said, I gotta share that. If it kind of comes in back to my remembrance, because I took it out my notes, it came back to my remembrance. So I was cooking, before I came here, right? I was cooking and I put something in the oven and I burnt my hand, right? So it caused me pain. Anything that causes you pain needs attention.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
So when that thing irritates you, all right, I need to deal with this. Why is it irritating? Why are they offending me? Why is it bothering me? And again, like Shianda was saying, we've all said it, it's not them. What is God trying to show us? Something's wrong. If we break our arm, we tend to it. We care for that thing. It's hurting. So there's something in us, and we have to be vulnerable. Okay, there's something in me that hurt, and I don't like when they do that to me. That hurts my feelings. That makes me angry. That makes me this. We need to now tend to that area because God is, showing us that there's pain in certain areas.
Can I also maybe maybe this isn't the same thing, Pastor, you guys can kind of comment on this quickly. What if it's like the flip side? What if it's I heard Rika, she was saying this right, being irritated. What if others share the same irritation about the same person? What if it's not you? What if you're doing what you can be spiritually mature and you